الحمد لله.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. I'm joined with the amazing Amira.
Okay, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair for having me on and like talking to me.
I want to find out about how you became Muslim. So, firstly, were you religious before you became Muslim? Like, did you have a religion, and how did you become Muslim?
I wasn't religious. I would say I was spiritual. I would say that I like had this idea that the world should be at peace, and I always liked the idea of marriage and not relationships, and I was always strange growing up a little bit. Like I remember at school I used to be really teased, like they would say the word frigid to me, which means like in terms of that you don't basically have relationships with boys, like you're very like shy into yourself and withdrawn. And that really affected me with growing up, because my friends would say, you're frigid, you never have a boyfriend, like you're never with anyone. But it was just in my head, I just always thought that these things belong to marriage only. And even I wasn't religious, I wasn't raised with any religious values. It was just something, I don't know why, it was just something that I felt in my heart was right, and I like aspired to have. So I had these kind of views like growing up, and then my dad was an alcoholic, so I knew the evils of alcohol, and I always saw it as something that was very damaging to society, and just something so damaging to yourself and your family. So that's something I really was against. So yeah, like my brother became Muslim first.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, he became Muslim first, and his wife became Muslim. She's a revert as well.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, they're really amazing because she moved in our family home like with my mum, and I was living with my mum at the time. And then like just they were just so their wisdom in this dawah was so beautiful, because on a Friday, like that's when I used to go out with my friends. We used to go out clubbing or drinking, whatever. And I remember there's one night, like I think I was unwell or I couldn't go or something happened. And my brother and my sister-in-law were like, why don't you come and sit in our room with us and have a takeaway and we'll watch something? So I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. I'm thinking in my head, we're going to watch a movie, right? So when I've gone into their room, we're having a takeaway, having a chat, and they put on these lectures like Ahmed Dida and all these other like people, that you would listen to when you're first looking into Islam and everything. And at the time I was like, it all seems nice. Like there's nothing bad happening. Like it's just that I don't know if it's for me. And every week, like I found myself sitting with them more, like in their room on a weekend, like having some food. Yeah, like watching more and more of these things, like to do with hijab and do these things. And every night I would go back to my own room and reflect and sit there and think, that was really nice. Like that was really, really nice. And that just makes sense. So that's kind of what sparked my interest in Islam. And that was in 2012. So that I was 21 at the time.
Wow.
Been like I was supposed to go on holiday with my friends to Ayia Napa, which is like a big party resort, and I'd pay for it and everything. And I remember at the airport saying I don't want to go, and they were like, why? And I was like, I just blurted it out. I was like, I want to be a Muslim. And they were like, what? Like I mean, they were hysterical. They were like laughing, like, what do you mean you want to be a Muslim? I was like, I just want to be a Muslim. They're like, so why can't you go on holiday? And I was like, well, because like I want to be a practicing Muslim. Like I don't want to drink, I don't want to live like this anymore. And I was just crying, I was hysterical. I was like, I just want to be like, I just want to be a Muslim. And then so I went on the holiday because it was all paid for. I was at the airport, I couldn't just turn around and go home. And we got there, the music's going, and people drinking, and everyone sat by the pool, and everyone's drinking their cocktails, and you could just imagine the scenery, right?
Yeah.
So I went to the hotel, and I just stayed in the hotel, like I just stayed in the room, and I was like, I don't want to go out. And I remember looking over the balcony. I remember going to my balcony window, and I remember looking into the street and seeing like a girl being sick, like a guy falling over, like bottles smashed everywhere, like just the smell. And I remember it was like Allah lifted a veil off my eyes at that moment, because I looked the world as it was. I was like, this can't be my purpose in life. This can't be it. This cannot possibly be a successful, happy, fruitful, beneficial life. Like what I'm seeing, like this guy is like taking his top off and he's screaming in the street, and this one's being sick, and it's just bottles and just mess, like it's screaming and shouting. I was like, this can't be life. Like it makes sense why these things are prohibited. It makes sense why we're not supposed to live like this. So that's really when I was like, I want to be a Muslim. There's no other way. Like I have to be. So I remember ringing my brother, like, Dan, like my brother, I was like, Dan, I need to become Muslim now. Like, what do I do? Tell me what I do. And I was like, do I take a bath? Like, what do I do? Like, you didn't know there's like a ritual to it, you know, like how Christians do a baptism and everything. So I was like, do I need to take a bath or do I like? And I was like, and he was like, what? I was like, do I need to shower? Do I need to do something? Like, where do I need to go? Like, do I need to go somewhere? And he was like, you don't need to go anywhere. You just need to say you believe, and that's it. You're a Muslim. And I was like, yeah, I do believe, but I want to become Muslim like right now. And he's like, well, then just say it then. Just say you want to. And then like, so I said the Shahada, but I wanted to do, because I had this thing where I was like, I need to do it in front of people. Like I need to do it in a proper place. I need it to be seen. Like I want to get a certificate saying you are a Muslim now. So I came back to England, and literally like 2 days later, I went to the masjid. I took my Shahada with my brother and my sister-in-law and the Imam, and I got a certificate saying my name's now Amira and everything. I felt really happy. And yeah, that's basically how I became Muslim. So
Wow.
my friends thought I was crazy and lost the plot, because they came back and they're like, what are you doing?
MashaAllah, at least you didn't take a holy bath.
Yeah.
That would have been the weirdest part. Imagine if your Shahada story was like that. That would have been bad.
It's so funny. Are you sure you're with the right religion? Are you sure? Anything you buy from a shop has an instruction manual. Like I literally can't think of anything that doesn't have a care label and doesn't have an instruction manual. And it's like you open it up, it tells you like, okay, you have to use it like this. Even the iPhone, you have to use it like this. But then it'll also have a warning like, do not overcharge it like this. Do not put the battery like this. Do not do this, right, with the phone. And then like, so it's giving you like an instruction and also a warning. And this is a basic human level of an idea, like basic human level. So then I was thinking like in the bigger scale, the bigger picture, okay, now we've been created, we are the creation, we have an instruction manual on what to do, how to achieve things, how to live, but also there's that warning like, okay, don't do this, and if you do this, this is going to happen, you know. And this is not something that's strange, this is something that we live by every single day. So yeah, that really made sense to me. And I thought there's just no, I mean, everything made has a maker, everything built has a builder. This is just a basic foundation. So that's kind of basically how I saw the world, and that's what really made me like accept Islam, really.
Okay, so let's move on to your family. So when you first became Muslim, how did they react? And how did your dad end up kind of rejecting you in a way?
So where my brother became Muslim first, so he was like the taster, he was the one that tested the waters as such. So with him it was completely fine, like it was just with him it was like, you know, it's a phase. He's young, he was 17, so he's young and his wife is young, and they're just like, you know, just trying things out. They're just spiritual people who've taken this path, but there'll be something else like in a few months, it's fine, just leave them. But when I became Muslim, it was a bit different because it was more of a dramatic change. I started wearing hijab, and I was no longer going out to the place I would have gone. I was no longer going for a drink with my dad. I used to go sometimes for a drink with him. I was no longer like obviously wearing certain clothes, and my mum would feel a little bit uncomfortable when we're going shopping on the weekend and things like that. So, and I'd become a little bit more, not withdrawn, but naturally you're trying to avoid things that you've done in the past. You know, you don't want to make the same mistakes. So it was a bit weird, I'd say a bit off at first, but it wasn't like I wasn't being pushed out, or I didn't feel they weren't abusing me or anything. They weren't saying anything negative. I just felt there was a strange sort of vibe. And again, they wasn't like, because I didn't know any man at the time. So it's not like, because oh, she's done it for a man, she's done it for a husband, because I actually didn't know any Muslims at the time apart from my brother and his wife. So I think if I had become Muslim for someone else, or because I was with someone else at the time, or jumped into a marriage straight away, they would have maybe felt differently and thought, you know what, she's been brainwashed by someone else. But it was completely from my own studies, my own research, and my own, like, I wasn't coerced, basically. It's from my own free will choice. So they were fine. It was only when my mum and dad separated, so bearing in mind it's like 3 years into me being Muslim, so about 3 years into me being Muslim now, my mum and dad separated, they got divorced, and my dad met someone else, and that woman he met was with the EDL. So yeah, like the thing is, like, my dad basically had always had this, he's a typical skinhead white English man with tattoos up his arm. He's a drinker, he's a fighter, he's very like that, a little bit aggressive, but he's always had this views about foreigners, and you know, the typical sort of English standard view that a lot of people have, like
Yeah.
foreigners, immigrants. But he would never have been vocal about it. He would never have said to anyone, you're an immigrant, you're like, you know, these things. He's just very patriotic in his heart and in his home, in his private space, I'd say. But when he started to be around this woman that was from the EDL, and he's going to this place where they used to drink, a pub and stuff that's just for EDL members and stuff, then his views really changed so dramatically. So as if I didn't know him anymore. So whereas before my dad would have gone out with me when in the club, and he would make a joke sometimes, like, come on, like he said, oh, I can't post letters all day today. You know, just a joke about like being a letter, but just that it was very light-hearted. But
Yeah.
when because my dad's like that anyway, but when he became with these people, it went a bit sinister. So he was sending me messages in the night saying, like, you know, when are you going to Syria? Or he sent me messages saying that, you know, I just saw another muzzy in the street that looks like you today, like muzzy. He started using the term like muzzy and things like that. And then he would say, like, is your kids gonna be, because I had a daughter at the time, but I was pregnant with my second child, and so he was like, is she gonna be a muzzy as well? Like, just these random messages, and I would just say, hi dad, like, okay, love you, like, when are you going to come see me? And then I'd get a response saying, are you still a muzzy? And I'll be like, well, you know, I am, because you just saw me yesterday. But like, he was just looking for something to basically, he wanted to create some sort of back and forth, and I was just really kind to him. Like, I would like go to the shop and say to my dad, like, dad, I'm in the shop, do you want oranges? Like, I'd text him because he loves oranges. I was like, it's these specific oranges from this like Islamic Turkish shop or something. And I was like, dad, like, I'm in the shop, do you want oranges? And he replied back saying like, oh, what's going on in Syria? Like, are you going to Syria? Are you like? And I just would completely ignore it and just keeps saying nice things to him. So that's kind of how it started. And then he moved away and he changed his number, and I literally didn't see him for 5 years, like, at all. And I had no closure, no explanation. And all I knew is that he was with these EDL people now. I knew that he was attending some marches and some gatherings with them. And I know that the pub he was going to and the ones he had moved away and been going to were EDL. But apart from that, I had no information on him. I tried to find him on like Gumtree, like to see if, because he's a decorator, so I tried to find that his work, to find that if he was somewhere in the country. I emailed him like non-stop, especially during COVID. I was panicking, thinking, is my dad sick? Is he alive? Like, because you don't, when the first lockdown happened, it was like something out of a movie. Like, we all thought that, oh my god, something serious is happening to our world, like, what's going on? So I was panicking, like, is my dad okay? Is he injured? Like, is he like, I just was so worried. So during COVID, that really was hard, because I was like, dad, like, please just let me know you're okay. Like, anything that's happened, I don't hate you, I've got no problem. If you call me today, I will literally not even bring it up. It will be as if it didn't happen. Like, you can call me, I'm here for you. Like, I just really wanted him to reach out, and he didn't until last month. And then he just said that he's fine and he's well, and you know, he's just getting older and he's alone and he's not with the woman anymore. And he just said, like, he just doesn't agree with these views that EDL have anymore. And then he said that basically, when he reflects back, a Muslim's never hurt him. And he was like, honestly, I can say this, a Muslim's never hurt me or done anything wrong to me. In fact, the only Muslims I know have been extremely kind. So he was like, the reason why I had this views is just more fear of losing my country, or it's just fear of not knowing, I guess, like just not taking the time to know. And then he said some things like, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud that you're still sticking to your religion. I'm proud that you still firm in what you believe. And he was like, it shows a lot about who you are. And he was like, I think that I've lost out on knowing that person.
Wow.
And he was just like, would you give me another chance? And it was just so nice. It was literally like, he sent me a voice note and I shared it on Instagram, and he was like, you know what, the way you've raised your kids, he was like, it's not like anyone else I've ever seen. He's like, you teach them a different language, you're teaching them another way of life. And he was like, it says a lot about you as a parent, and you as a like a daughter, and you as a person. And he was like, I really regret everything that I've done and said, because he said, I've been ignorant. He said, I'm ignorant. And he's like, because if I look at anyone else's children, I mean, my dad's looking at people who are not Muslim and people he knows, like and pub people, right? So he's comparing that to that. But he's like, when I look at other people's children, he's like, I don't see any culture, I don't see any knowing or willingness to accept. And he was like, the way that your kids are just like embracing me again as a grandfather when I've been absent. He's just I just can't understand how you're so kind. So that really meant a lot to me, and alhamdulillah, like we have a really good relationship now. It's only been like a month and a bit, but it already, like, he's been so understanding and just really kind, and his views are completely changed. Like he's a different person. So alhamdulillah, I'm really grateful that Allah changed his heart. And I keep saying it on every show, and every time someone talks to me, I'm like, quickly, let me say this. Like, if my dad can change, anyone can change. And that really is like the truth, because I saw my dad was down a really, really bad path, and to the point he's going to these EDL rallies, I think of rallies, yeah, EDL, yeah, EDL rallies, yeah, EDL rallies, where there's like tens of thousands of them against Muslims and shouting in the street and stuff. So if he can change from that to how he is, then, you know, I honestly like believe there's chance that inshallah he could become Muslim as well. Like, I really hold that hope in my heart, because if he can go from that to that, there's just, I believe that he can, inshallah, definitely.
I think the main message from this is just the fact that through like all the hate that your dad was feeling in his heart, that you stayed strong, and that you didn't show hate back, that you didn't reciprocate, you didn't you didn't sort of react to it. You just stayed strong to your morals, you stayed strong to your deen, and you treated him with kindness. And then after a long time, I mean, that ended up the best form of dawah that actually helped him accept you and your family. So I think that's the main message there, because it can be hard. It can be so hard converting to Islam and your family don't accept. And you know, it's an honorable problem. It's a problem the Prophet ﷺ had, and a lot of the Sahaba had. So, you know, it's an honorable test to go through. It's a good test, but it's a hard test. And hearing your story, I mean, when I read it, but I mean, like, actually hearing it is so different, because like, you didn't see your dad, like, you were close with your dad and you didn't see him for a long time. Like, he just disappeared. Like, you were worried. You genuinely were worried about your own dad, and it's so scary to like hear like what happened. But alhamdulillah, it's got such an amazing ending.
It's just the moral of the story that nothing good ever comes from hate. Only good can come from kindness and compassion and just being empathetic. Like, only good can come from that, but nothing good can come from anger and hate. And we see it time and time again. Like, he's lost out, I've lost out, and there's people in the middle affected. So there's grandkids affected, you know, his life's affected, my life's affected, and there's probably lots more other people, like my mom, and the stress it caused her and things like that. So yeah, like, these things like really are like damaging to like, hate is damaging to society, it's damaging to you, and it's damaging to society. That's why as Muslims we're encouraged not to hate, we're encouraged to forgive, to look the other way. Even if someone kills your family member, we're encouraged to, okay, they can be punished in a court, but you can actually have the option to say, you know what, I want to forgive and let them free. And these things are encouraged, like, lightly. It's not forced, but Allah is saying, if you do, then it's better for you.
Yeah, you can never force forgiveness. Why there's not forgiveness?
Yeah. You know, so it is better for you. It definitely is better for you to forgive, because if I had turned the other way and said, shunned my dad and said, you know what, who are you talking to? You know, you're not going to say this about me and my veil and my religion, and I'm going to stand and I'm going to argue and I'm going to basically defend it. And then what would have happened? What am I really defending? Because like, it doesn't, his words don't hurt Islam. His words, it doesn't affect anything. It doesn't change anything. The revelation is still intact. We still have it. You know, I'm still going to be a Muslim at the end of the day. So me being hateful and angry and like, you know, having to go at him and defending my religion, being this very harsh way, it's only going to turn his heart, because harshness disfigures. You probably mentioned harshness disfigures. So his heart is only going to become more and more hardened towards me. And I think that if I had really had like battled with him about, you know, and said, you know, don't talk about me and my religion like that, and these sort of things, you know, I don't think that today we would be in contact, because it would have left a very bitter sort of, you know, like, ending, and it would have been very hard to pick that back up again, you know. So
well, thank you so much for coming on my channel. I know if anyone wants to see your work, they can go on your Instagram. Thank you so much for coming. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Thanks, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much.